the interim head of school this year. My background, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and attended girls preparatory school, a day school, grades 7 through 12. We did not have middle school when I was going through school. We had junior high and high school. And then I went to Swanee, so my Episcopal connection or exposure happened up there and just loved it. I grew up in the Catholic Church, so it was really close also as far as the faith piece of it, but just being in this welcoming Episcopal, valuing the worth and dignity of all people was evident when I was in college and then just being part of this community. So after college, I graduated with a liberal arts degree, and in 1983 when I graduated, Time magazine said, liberal arts degrees are the most sought after degrees. Any company will hire you. Well, that was not quite true. So I went back and started working on an MBA. I'd done fairly well in some of the economics courses. It just was not me at all. I wanted to be with people, and I wanted to go back to my school, and an opening happened. So I went back to work at my alma mater in Chattanooga, and I was there 28 years. I taught Latin, I taught English, I coached, I was a grade level dean, I worked in development. I exhausted every possibility that was there, and I thought, I've been telling girls for 28 years to grow, to keep with your passion but grow, and so that's what I needed to do. So I left and went to the Ursuline School in New Rochelle, New York, a Catholic girls' school, grades 6 through 8, and 800 day students. And so my growth, still staying where I was grounded in girls' schools and girls' education, but my growth was being in a Catholic school and being in New York. I hope not to offend anyone, but it is awfully cold in New York, and it was my 4 years where I got a taste of everything that I wanted. And then there was an opening at Salem Academy over in Winston-Salem. So I applied for that role to be head of school and was fortunate enough to get that, and I was in Winston-Salem for the last 2 years. So I'm still grounded in girls' schools. I am, my growth though is I was associated with an academy that was part of a college. This whole double focus on education for women. And it was a great experience. I loved that sweet little academy, but for me and my skill set and my desire for high school girls, it just didn't fit. I think there was a lot of overlap that I really wanted girls to be able to be girls, and this is just me. The school is successful, there's other models that are successful, but I was fortunate that St. Mary's was looking for an assistant head of school, a new position here, and I applied, and so in 2020, I moved to Raleigh. Crazy time, I had no idea what Raleigh was like because everything was closed, and lived on campus and learned about St. Mary's in a very ghost town. So there are a lot of pieces of literature I read, or I got on Zooms, or talked to different folks that I would maybe see 6 feet apart, and learned about it. And I guess if I had to say my growth, still in girls' schools, and I'd done the boarding piece also, but now I'm in the capital of the state. And that might sound really interesting, of like, how are you growing there? I'm not necessarily growing myself as much as seeing how we can grow and get opportunities outside the gate, how we can really take advantage of our community partners. And coming off of COVID, it is a great time to bounce off of that. So I am looking forward as every day we're making new connections as we're able to get either with doing community service, maybe getting involved with Habitat, having our girls represent us at different community gatherings, so it's really wonderful. So just a little bit, so I'm sort of dragging on a little bit. The same way that people go to college, in high school and then go to college, think, oh, I want to be a doctor, I love science, or I really enjoyed graphic design, so I want to be in marketing. I guess what I loved was my girls' school experience. I love the friends I made, I love being able to have a voice, I love the confidence, I love being able to make a mistake and fail, and someone go, okay, let's help you get there the next time. And that's what we do here, and that's what we do so very well. And it's just a mantra. It's a mantra of girls' schools. I think that you can, a lot of times if you get a group, you go, hey, did you go to a girls' school? Because there's just something, sometimes a little powerful, sometimes a little aggressive, but always caring and supportive with that. St. Mary's is a wonderful place. Since 1842, I'm gonna pretend you know nothing about the school. 1842, when the school was founded, it's a small group of 13 people here to get the school started, and it was just a magnificent opportunity in Raleigh. As the school grew, we were a junior college, And that was, we were the last 2 years of high school and the first 2 years of college, which so many schools up and down Hillsborough and around Meredith and Peace College were also women's institutions. And it was sustainable until Title IX. And then all of a sudden, girls had opportunities at other colleges. And that was wonderful for them, but it was a time for St. Mary's and many other schools to reinvent and to really look at what our community should look like and what we can provide for. So in the mid-90s, the decision was to drop the college and to go grades 9 through 12. So it grew in a weird way to me, but it worked for us. We added 10th grade first, and then we added 9th grade. So about that time that we had 4 years of high school, our last year of college was graduating. And so when you look at the campus, you'll look at it, and it's got that interesting feel of a college campus. And watching girls walk from building to building, and especially if your daughters have been in middle school and they are in one building or maybe two, you'll look and you think, oh my gosh, how did they pace themselves to get all over campus? Because it is originally a college campus. We've got 34 families living on campus. We've got them living in the dorms and also in the townhouses. So we are a 24/7 shop here with just a lot of activity, especially once we start getting out of COVID, more to do. But it's 24/7. We are really dedicated to these girls, not just the boarding ones who live here the whole time, but our day students who come and spend the night or come on weekends and work in the library or doing sports on weekends. So it is a full service that we have here. I'm guessing that if you haven't yet, you'll look to see what the academics are and what we offer and how many APs and where our girls go to college. And while I would love to say that we are the greatest in the country, we're not, but we are really, really good. And the way that education is being delivered now, especially after COVID, there are people who are going online, people who are accelerating, folks who are doing a hybrid, some are doing homeschool. We've got all these options. So the delivery of calculus has a lot of different phases. We deliver it great here. I mean, we really do. We've got a lot of different math, a lot of different science. But I think the difference is not that we're just delivering it, but we are delivering it for girls. We are looking at the way girls learn. They are relational. They like to be in collaborative situations. They like to have support. They like to ask a small group or get an answer in a small group before they get the confidence to answer out loud in the class, and we recognize that. We recognize that in all of our different courses that we do here. We also recognize that we are not all textbook learners, especially girls. They are curious. They want to bring back to being relational. They want to bring real life experiences in and try to figure out how is this going to help me now or in the future or someone else. Or the whole, I'm never going to do algebra ever in my life. Why am I doing it now? Yes, you are. Let's talk about it. I'm not a math teacher. I've given 2 math examples for this, but I think it's just that just came straight to my mind on that. So we're good. We're a really good place. We are hoping to become more of a boarding school than a day school. When COVID came, we had just an increase of day families wanting to come because we were open every day last year. And we were able to provide education for these girls, thinking that some of them may come for 1 year and they stay. So our balance of day boarding, we've got a few more day students in boarding, but as a school with 4 dorms, and as a school that really wants to be a boarding school, we want to push that number up. Lots of local girls board, and we've got what we call seasonal boarders. We've got some local girls who are playing golf or volleyball or cross country who are staying during their season so they can go to practice, eat in the dining hall, meet up with their friends at night for study groups, not have to wake up quite as early in the morning to be able to go to class, and then go home on weekends and bring their laundry and things like that to a family. So that's me just a little bit. You're going to have so many opportunities for folks who are experts in their specific piece of this wonderful puzzle that we put together at St. Mary's for education. But I want to just take a pause for a second and ask what you would love to hear from me as the head of school. And know what I just thought, I'm going to tell you my role. Last year, when I was the assistant head of school, the board asked me to step in to be the interim. And that interim is sort of a crazy name. What does that really mean? And so I am contracted to be here for 2 years. That is, and I'm not telling you anything you can't read on the website. The board is looking to see the direction that it wants to go with the head of school and my vision and what my plan is for the school, and also just check to see how it works. It's a 2-way street with this. So I there's not a guarantee that I will continue here. There's not a guarantee that I won't continue here. But that's what the interim piece is. So I don't know if that puts people, a little bit, what does that mean? We are, though, St. Mary's, or St. Mary's strong. That is not stopping anyone from supporting us financially, from teachers wanting to come work here, from students wanting to come here. So, because I am just one person in this beautiful place with all these people in all of our generations. So I want to share that out, because most of you, if you see that, there's got to be a question. What does the interim mean? So I'll just go ahead and throw that out. So what kind of question, what kind of topic would you like for me to touch on? Our girls are last year, it was so fun. They were, there was almost everybody goes everywhere. We've got international students who go back home. We've got girls who go we've got domestic students who go over to Europe to go to school. But there's always that, who's going to state, who's going to Chapel Hill. We always look at that number. We've got so many graduates here who went to, as many of our employees went there. So it's always that little number of where are they going, and we're pretty much even on that. So that's fun for us. Yeah, it's great.
Talk about on-campus safety.
On-campus safety is the question, and this is I'm the queen of anecdotes, almost ad nauseum. So I asked this question back in the day. There were no gates around this campus, so it was like if you get some certain alums to talk about the freedom and the people just coming off from Hillsborough and NC Stadium. But what happened is, I think it just worked. We had the master plan. We had the beautiful wrought iron put in front, and then it was circled all the way around. All of our buildings, except for this chapel, had a key code. Students have a key code. Day students have one, and boarding students have another, and the adults have one, and they switch regularly with keypads on there. The gates, the front gate is open until the end of the workday where you all drove through Smeens Gate. We've got gates all around campus that can only open with a car pass thing with one of those keypads. We've got a security team that's here 24/7, and we've got cell phones. Girls have the cell phones. I think we're really safe. Even our old buildings like this one that we want to preserve and keep all the essence of being here in the chapel, we are keeping it a safe building too. We're putting a better sprinkler system, and we've got ventilation and those types. And another area of safety besides the security part, we've got nurses on campus who are here 24/7. We've got two, they live on campus, one in the health center and one in the dorm. So we've got that accessibility. Another, sort of expanding the safety with health and wellness. We have 2 counselors who are social work certified with that, and they live on campus, and they're available. They've got office hours, and they're here on the weekends if we need that. But we also have connections with other medical communities here if we need that. So I think we're really safe. It's tough to be a kid. It is tough to be a teenager. It's tough to be a girl. And there are so many different things that you just sort of get surprised at happening because they're so quiet about some things. But we will do everything we can to catch a girl when she's starting to fall. And one thing I've always said about girls' schools, especially St. Mary's because of our size, someone said, well, we're kind of great, she's doing really well at X school. And I said, how many people are in her actual classroom? 30, 25, 30. And I said, you're not going to have that here. At St. Mary's, you can't hide. You cannot hide in class or not be part of a conversation. Your teacher is going to know who you are. If you live on dorm, your dorm parent is going to know who you are. Your classmates, the seniors are going to know the freshmen. And it is not a nosy getting in everybody's business. It is, I'm here for you because I know I'm going to need you one day, and you may need me one day. And so I think that is, and that's a little bit, I will say, being in a boarding community, it's just more enhanced because it's all there. Yes, well, you're welcome. That's a great question. Yes.
Somewhat related to what you were talking about in the classroom, I know there's one on academics. I'm not concerned about APs. Right. I'm kind of curious about you as head of school, like how you talk to your teachers about teaching these girls. Kind of what is the approach, that type of area I'm interested in.
Perfect. The question was, as the head of school, not how do I inform or share out how to teach girls? What's the best way to teach girls? Right. With that, and it's hard because I've done it for so long that what is just inbred in my expectations, I usually almost all the time see it, but when I don't see it, my first reaction is, what? You could have, and I thought, we've got to educate out. We've got to really, and that's part of our community of really promoting everybody's academic learning. The faculty, the staff, everyone, the parents also. We are fortunate to be members of the National Coalition of Girls School, which is really an international organization, and they have workshops and books and videos and webinars that we will send one or two folks to come back and report and to share out. So our academic learning team is a hungry team to want to be able to do the best. But there are, sometimes there's a challenge, especially in an AP course, where you've got to get that content. And there's just so much precious time until May with the advanced placement test. So how are you going to do that but still educate girls? And they bring in speakers, go to a field trip, they'll have a lunch and learn themselves or do something like that. It is not, but the girls are focused on, give me the information, I want to do so well in the AP. So we really start getting that balance in the 9th and 10th grade, so the girls will learn how to be learners also, and to ask questions, and most importantly, to seek help. And not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm probably the only one in the class who didn't understand this, where we find out everybody can always, even if you think you understand it, and even if you do understand it, to hear it again is always helpful. So that's it. No, it's really important, because if the faculty don't know what that means to teach girls, then we sort of lost out on a great opportunity here. Let the girls be teachers themselves. Great, good, thank you. Yes, sir.
Your day students versus your boarders, are they integrated pretty well? Or is it, because we live here in Raleigh, so, obviously I'm here on my wife's behalf, and I understand now why. But, so, I think, I don't understand that. If you're a day student, are you missing out? You need to be a boarding student to get in the full St. Mary's life and feel like you're part of everything, or you integrate them well enough that it doesn't matter?
That is a great question. The question in essence is a day student versus a boarding student, an opportunity afforded to them being here and being able to take advantage of everything that we offer. I'll be honest, in COVID, there was a little bit of a difference, because the day students were able to go home and families had their own rules of what they were going to do. We were very protected here. We did not want COVID to get on campus. We wanted to stay open as long as we could. So last year it was a bit of a restrictive year for our boarding students. We kept social distancing, we had masks on until the vaccination came, and then life changed a little bit. Our goal and our intent is that the only difference between a day student and a boarding student's experience is where they put their head on their pillow. Day students are invited to all of our activities that we have on the weekends. We've got the library open at night. Day students will stay, even if they're not living on campus for a season, they will stay sometimes, go to dinner, go to the library, go into a dorm room to hang out with their friends, and then go put their head on their pillow wherever it is. But we have a lot of weekend activities, a lot of different clubs that's open to everyone. Community service on Saturday mornings open to everyone. So if there, I'm trying to think if there would be anything possibly, our boarders know the people who live on campus in a different way, because they see them at meals, or they see their kids running around on the playground, or they know their dogs. But that is not a definer of the haves and have-nots, or what you receive and what you don't receive. But that would probably be the big thing, besides where you put your pillow, where your head on your pillow. No, it's good, but we were restricted with COVID. We were not able to do everything that we wanted to. We're just now, so we've got international students here, and they are not going home over fall break. It's just too expensive. They said, well, it's crazy too, because it's a short. So some of these shorter breaks, we're keeping the dorms open for those students. We've got almost 20 students who are staying in their dorms, and all three of we've got three active dorms right now, and we've got activities planned for them. So that is something that is specific to this group, because they didn't go home during break. But generally on a weekend, if they are going to the rock climbing place, they only play golf. What's that golf? Pardon me?
Top Golf.
Top Golf.
Drive Shack, the Drive Shack.
Or the Drive.
Yeah, Drive Shack sort of.
We had day students and boarding students, so we had so many who had to get another bus to go. So I think that's really, everybody is slow at first with the new girls in the 9th grade figuring out, I went to school with these people, they're either here or not here, now we've got all these, just that whole friendship type piece. But we've got something also called the freshman experience. And the freshman experience is recognizing that everyone is transitioning into the school, regardless of if you had family here or sisters here, parents came here, you've lived here forever, it's still a transition. And so our freshman experience is really getting this freshman class to know each other in a way that's not streamlined with all the activities that we do, like when we do class elections or when we have our Sigma Mu, our competitive schools Sigma Mu, and it's a big competition of you get points, but there's still that freshman thing that we need to do, a freshman night just for freshmen. In the past, we've been able to do Outward Bound for the freshman class, and COVID did not allow that to happen. So right now, the only class in the school that went to Outward Bound is our senior class, who love to talk about the most horrible experience that they had, how they persevered by keeping it content, keep their friends dry. Then they tell the freshmen they only let you take a towel and a Bible. I mean, they just make up all this stuff. They really do. You're on your own. You have to eat bark. It's the whole thing. So it is. So of course, they're already dreading it, but that is a great bonding opportunity for these girls. We're asking them to stay. They're going to be safe, and it's not led by St. Mary's people. It's led by the Outward Bound folks, and it is a way to find out more about yourself in all different ways. If you like to reflect more, if you like to be active more, if you want to lead, if you don't want to lead, those are all just wonderful things.
Is it late to do that with the class?
Yeah, we're hoping to do it this year with this current freshman class. Yeah, Outward Bound was really restrictive. We always do it in the spring. So in 2020, it got nixed. And then last year it was just restrictive of trying to, how many we could have. We couldn't take the whole class. At that one time we had our date with that. So yeah, no, we want to do the Outward Bound. We've got a lot of good memories, a lot of rites of passage, I guess, with that. Even though it scares the girls, they have no idea what it means. They have no idea what it means or where it is or what, so, but they know it's bragging rights after you make it through.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One would be for the day students, if they did ever want to spend the night, like is there a place for them to do that? And then also, just a little bit about what St. Mary's is doing to create a diverse base of students from, race, economic backgrounds, and just creating diversity in students.
Great. The two questions for the first one was if day students want to spend the night, is there an opportunity or space for them? And this is not like a semester, this is a here and there. And then the second one was on our, I'm gonna say our commitment to diversity, institution-wide. So the very first one is, yes, with the day students being able to spend the night. Sometimes they want to spend the night with their friends and there's not rooms, they're sleeping on the floor with that. We do have always a few dorm rooms that are available because we hold those if we have seasonal boarders. So there is that opportunity where they bring their sheets and towels, but all the meals are in the dining hall on that. We did not do it last year because of COVID, and we were trying to space out more than bring people in, so that is our hope. I had advisees, and I had all 9th grade advisees last year who were all 10th grade advisees, and every day, they would say, oh my gosh, I want to spend a night in the dorm next year. Can I come spend a couple nights? And then, so they were creating the policy. So they decided that every day student should be able to get 5 nights to come over and spend the night. You can either do it for a whole week, or you can do it once a month. So these are my 10th graders who've decided, they've told me what the policy is. And it's pretty darn good one. I mean, to have this number, here are your numbers that we can accommodate, and it's not to limit, it's just so we can accommodate everybody in another class. We're looking, at 4 different classes. So that's good. I think that's a fun thing that we can do. We, like every school across the country, I'm gonna say across the world, our eyes are opening more and more every day. And living in Raleigh and living in the capital and seeing all these different people that are moving in, we are very much aware for our children, especially someone my age, the way that my circle of people who live in Chattanooga versus living in Raleigh or in different areas around here, just the contacts and the connections that these children are having. And their open-mindedness and their desire to learn through people also. So our challenge is that we are a single-gender domestic boarding school in Raleigh with no boys' school. I mean, that's a challenge, a single gender with no boys' school. Families like to have people on, well, I'm talking about you, but I think families like to have the same calendar when you can, or the same, so everybody's close together, so that a lot of times siblings will go to the same school. So that's a challenge for us in our admissions pool with that, trying to bring even people to look at us as a day boarding school. But we are really committed from the board all the way through all of our employees. It is getting our name out. We look at diversity in a lot of different ways, not just skin color, but and not just religion being in a physical school. We look at learning differences. We look at socioeconomic. We look at just a broad. I'm gonna say how long you've been in the United States. Just a lot of different things, because we just feel that everyone can add to this community in some way. We're not a cookie cutter school, I guess. Is that okay? Yes. Good. Thank you. Yeah.
How does the coursework work? Do all freshmen basically take a core classes, and then do you get to select the order you get, or how does that work?
Right. So the question is about the coursework or the girls taking their classes. There are a couple things that I guess are standard at the 9th grade level, and that is we are a physics first school with our science. Everybody takes physics. It works beautifully with whatever level of math a girl comes in. And that's one place where it differs. We've got girls in Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and we'll have one girl every now and then be in special math topics, because just of exposure or however she learned, especially during COVID, doing things online. Our world languages, we do French and Spanish, so girls often are starting a new language but coming in at different levels also. So those are mixed classes with different grades. Our English for freshmen is all together. And then our history is also. But one thing that we recognize that as they go to be in the 10th grade, they have a lot of options. They can do different sciences, their language changes, their math is still changing, they've got different levels of history, but there's that need to keep them together. How can we keep them together in a specific grade so they're still learning about each other, and new girls coming in are part of the class, they're not just sort of floating around. So we have a seminar program, and our seminar program has what we call key competencies that are really in different places. They're called life skills or those soft skills. And it's a program in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, a curriculum. I think the juniors are going to teaching course this week to go, on a teaching course? Help me. Teaching course is an organization here in Raleigh where they, it's like, I'm going to use the word therapeutic, but I know that's not exactly.
Horse therapy, basically.
Yeah. Horse, yeah. And so our girls are going to go there with the horses. And last year the horses came on campus because we couldn't go out there, so they brought the horses to us. But the point is that yes, we want everyone to grow academically, but there's still that one age appropriate, grade appropriate, and that's what our seminar does. Because our 11th graders are different from our 9th graders. Even if they're in the same class, there is a different maturity, different exposure, different decision-making skills. At the senior level, our seminar changes a little bit because we spend time doing college counseling. The girls meet, and seminar meets just like a regular class, it's in the rotation. So the seniors will meet with college counselors, go through just how to do an application, small school, large school, what your interests are, financial aid, all of those pieces with it. And with also, where is your best fit on that, have those discussions. So that's it. Good. That's a great question. This is y'all are in an enviable but in a tough place. Your daughters are on the 8th grade, and you're making a decision for hopefully 4 years. So everybody will go to school and they'll be in school for 4 years. And one nice thing is that we've been around for 180, and I won't be here for 180 years, but we will be here for a very long time. We are doing things well. We are always exploring what we can do better or differently. I have made it a point to talk to all of our folks, from our chaplain to our grounds to admissions, everybody. When we add, even for them in their lives, you got to take away something. We have got to get in balance with ourselves. We've got to teach our girls how to be in balance. That you can't be in every club, you can't do 2 sports, you can't have 5 APs, and then volunteer for this, and then you just can't. It's just not natural. It is how we like to be involved. We love it. We love to be part of everything and know someone and have a lot of phone numbers and just not, but we can't. So, and I think that females are oftentimes not the best role models in that. When they see a teacher who's sponsoring 5 clubs and doing a sport and driving the band and doing these other things, and we do it because we love it. But it is something that we need to find that balance in ourselves and recognize it, that if we do it, then we can help the students do that, because there's always more time. I've told students this forever when they want to take every AP possible. I will say, I love that you're passionate. I love that you're so excited about this, but you are going to keep going to school after St. Mary's. You can take some of these courses a little bit later. You don't have to take them all right now. And then they look and they go, it doesn't end after 12th grade. So that is, but they still try to sign up for as many as they can. But that's really.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is one of the lunch and learns coming up, or just another opportunity to just learn a little bit more financially about how, just what that looks like for 4 years.
Right.
I have twins, so I was
Oh my God. Right.
just what that might look like.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Maybe that's at the open house.
Right. No, there's a question, and I'm just going to
Yes.
repeat this. The question was about, is there a future lunch and learn or a future session on the financial piece, or the, I'm going to use this term, affording St. Mary's. For twins, for the next 4 years. Yeah.
So you don't get one free.
Yeah. Don't package deal.
A specific lunch and learn for financial aid, but we do have a booklet that has a lot of information. We can also, there are people in our office, we have the assistant director of financial aid who can sit down with you and sort of talk through what the process looks like. Any of the counselors can do that too, talk through sort of what the process looks like, and you can sort of see what percentage of our students are on financially, what does that look like in a 4-day day, just to kind of get a handle on that. We always tell families, when you look at their sticker shock, you look at the price tag, and we know this is an investment, right? You're investing in your daughter and her future. And so we understand that. So we want to be transparent about our process, but we also never want somebody to not look because they're worried about the price tag. As much as possible, we try to figure out where the need is and meet that need so that we can make this work. And the fact that you have 2 girls, that right away is, puts you in a different category. And so on the form and going through the process, that's accounted for. So we can definitely, connect you. The first step is sort of, talking to admission counselors, and then we can connect you to our director of financial aid. There's a financial aid process, and it runs at the same time as the application for admission. So the application for admission is priority admission through January 30th. So that's sort of our the most important date to remember. Although, and so the financial aid application is also due January 30th. Now there's a $100 application fee. But if you give your application, that just means the application, the part that you can submit for the application, which is the student questionnaire, the parent questionnaire, the household information. If you can get all that submitted by October 30th, we waive the $100 fee. So that would be very beneficial in your case, because that $100 fee is a $200 fee. So that would waive that fee. And so then from there, we still need other supplemental information, like transcript, teacher recommendations. We don't need all of that by October 30th. It's just we need the information that you can give us by October 30th. And then, from there you would put in school information so that we can send transcript requests and teacher recommendation requests, and we want to get all of that information by January 30th. So that is when we try to get the whole file complete, the application file complete. And so the financial aid application is also due on that January 30th. And so if you submit, we say the application, although you've got the application, the part that you guys can control and submit. And then the full application file includes all of that supplemental information. The part that you can provide, provide the voucher for 30, we waive the $100 application fee. If you don't quite get it all in, or your daughter didn't finish her part, you have until November 30th, and then it's just a $50 fee. And then after that, it's the full $100. But, and then we want the application for admission and the financial aid application by June 30th. But we can chat with that. I mean, it should not be, I mean, the financial aid application is similar to the college financial aid process. It does require a lot of, tax returns, and you do put in a lot of information. But it's worth it, getting us that information, and then you find out when acceptances go out, you find out then what your the financial aid account is, so that you get all of that at the same time, so that you're fully aware when you're starting to look at or needing to really make those decisions. So we'll chat when when we leave this, and that is definitely we can get you we can talk more specifically through that and make sure that you have what you need. But we do have on our website and a hard copy too of just some basic information because it is, again, it's called investing in your daughter's future, because we know that this is a commitment, and we don't take that lightly, and we believe that everything that we provide is worth that extra investment. We've got great schools in the Triangle. I mean, we've got a great public school right down the road. So it's helping to see the value added, and why this is an investment that is worth that commitment. And again, we know that it's still, that it still is quite a commitment, and so we do want to, we have that financial aid offering so that we can meet that need, and so that nobody doesn't, runs away without going through that process.
Right, because I'm going to use the word pricing, but it is all inclusive.
Yes.
Children get laptops, they get
That's true.
on their field trips, they get all their meals, even if it's a day student, wants to eat 3 meals a day here and come in on the weekend. They get extra after-school supervision if they are on campus and want to be in the library at night. We do not nickel and dime. And I know a lot of times you have a tuition and you go, here's this fee or here's that fee, and then it does add up, because we're very careful about looking to make sure that we are not doing that, because that's not who we are. We want to say this is what we want you to know about. I was going to make a joke and say if your daughters were identical, you can just send one each day.
Every other day.
Every other day. That's funny.
You
But
should
maybe
mention that we have fairs, carnivals that just come on site with rides and stuff like that, and food trucks. Everything.
That was we've got just talking about the other activities that we have.
Yeah,
We have some very tremendous donors also that provide for our students. We've got an anonymous donor who provides, we have to call it Trucking in the Grove or Food Truck Rodeo. We have food trucks all the way around the grove. We had rides on the practice field, and it was for everyone on campus, for all of our families, all of our employees, our facility staff, our buildings and ground staff. It was for everyone.
And generally, outside of COVID, it is for our students and their families too. So it is a community-wide event. And Carol's right. There's so much that goes on for your daughters during the day, but outside of the day, and that is all a part of the experience and your comprehensive fee, tuition, all of that.
And it goes back to the point of the only difference is where you put your head on a pillow.
Right.
Everybody gets everything, all the meals and stuff like that. But we do hear you that there is maybe, and I'm not committing anything, but maybe we do have a webinar or a Zoom that people can call in and just say, ask those questions. And even if it just came as a Q&A, send your questions in. We're going to have these answered and get for someone from our business office.
And that's good, because especially last year with COVID, we were having to do everything. We weren't able to have any group events last year until, like Carol said, after the vaccine came out, and then kind of April and May. But you have to get creative, and I guess now webinars and that creative. But you did have to find ways to gather information. So we did do some more financial aid specific. And you're right, that is not something that's on here, and that's definitely, that's a valid concern and a popular question. So that is something that we can, explore doing, something that that can really ask those questions in real time and give you that information.
What's the percentage, remind me right now, the percentage of our student body who receives some form of financial assistance?
It's 33.
And some of that is based on, is financial aid, is what we would call, based on that, some is merit. We've got a couple full scholarships that, at different qualifiers for that girls are able to apply for. But we do have, we've got, and there's no, I mean, it's not that none of it ever would be, but it is not an identifier of, well, that girl's on A, we never.
Right,
That is
yeah.
such a confidential, no one ever knows except for our top scholars. We've got 2 full ride scholarships that people know who that scholar is in that class, and that's an honorary, so we'd love to share that out.
Yeah. Yeah, so each of you, so all of our families that are going through the application process, or even when you become a prospect, you're assigned to an admission counselor. So that is really your contact. So hopefully you've already completed everything, you're all in our system, so you should have, you started to receive your view book, and you're getting our emails and those sorts of things. But you will, over this next, if you haven't already, over this next couple of weeks, hear from your admission counselor. You can always, call our office too, and if you're wondering about that, we can, take care of that right now. But that's, your first point person, and that will really walk with you through the process and be sure that you're getting things in on time, and when you have questions, or if we're getting close to January 30th and we don't have that math recommendation, we'll help let you know, and we need to reach out to people in the school, we will. So we really want to walk with you through that process, and so, we'll be sure that, my colleague Mary Mills and I work with the day market. So I work with families whose students, day families whose students go to independent schools in the area, and then my colleague Mary works with day families, day applicants, prospects who go to public schools in the area. So that's sort of how we divide it, because that's easy. So that sort of can be a touch point factor. But that's what we really want to not make. It can be overwhelming, and it is, especially if this is your first time and having to look at first schools or explore options. We want to make it as easy as possible, as user friendly. I mean, there's a lot of information that you want, and there's there's stuff that we're going to need too. So just helping to partner with you, sort of, and it also helps us because we really feel like we get to know our families really well, and so our applicants that then become enrolled students, so next summer, our office spends a lot of time with the academic side, the student life side, to be intentional about the advisor we get, your daughter is paired with, roommates if she's a boarder, those sorts of things, because we know you, we get to know you, and that's kind of the benefit and the joy for us is partnering with you through the process and getting to know you, and then getting your daughters here and getting to see them, kind of just jump in and really, thrive. And yesterday I was watching a senior, and I was like, gosh, I remember when she was a freshman, and it's so funny to see, it's awesome to really see that growth in the way, Carol was talking about finding their voice and, the things that they're involved in. And just remembering them as a 9th grader or 8th grader going through the process, and then just seeing, how they, that kind of maturity and that growth. So, anyway. Any other last minute questions? I know we're about to,
So the general breakdown order today, is that about 50-50? And will that be, no, it's not.
That's our goal. That's not what it is right now, because we had so many local students wanting to come here right now, and it only takes 1 or 2 girls to bring a percentage up, but we are probably right now, if I were to guess, 43% boarding and 57% day. It changes with different grades. Some grades are heavier than others. Our junior class is giant. It's a class of 90-something girls, and that's what skews those numbers with that. But we have, I should have written this down, and I didn't. We have girls from 9 different countries, 7 different states. Yeah,
and that's,
majority from North Carolina, of course, all over the state. Day students from this Wake County area, but that is.
and I would, pre-COVID, we were slightly more boarding today. And so that's sort of where, and that's kind of comes from the board, that's sort of where we like to be. Not, we don't want to be, we need the day experience. So, sort of that 55-45, that's sort of the sweet spot. But we have all these dorms, we have the space. So, and our goal is to operate as a boarding day school, but we operate like a boarding school, which is a huge benefit to our day families, because like Carol said, a lot of girls will come in the morning for breakfast and just stay through their practice or, sports practice or play practice in the afternoon, stay for dinner, and then go to the library where there's a bunch of people that they can, and teachers available that they can do their homework and they can pick up the end of the day. So we lost some of that ground with COVID, and have kept our enrollment up. So we've gained boarders too, but we've just sort of, those day students have increased at a higher number. So we're just skewed slightly the other way. But we're sort of right at 800.
Just have one more question too, kind of about that. So like with, let's say if a child needs some additional help, right? So like with math, and if, right now people may be doing kind of outside tutoring or other things, is that something that you all provide to like figure out like what maybe a little more time with a teacher or just some additional help?
Completely. I mean,
So that's
my desire is to really that families don't need to go to tutors, because we can provide that resource here. We've got time in the day with it, we call it tutorial, where students can go. Sometimes they're invited to come and their attendance is mandatory, but sometimes they can drop in on their own. And so we've got that in the schedule. But there are, especially if a faculty member is on duty that night. We've got a math teacher that the math chair lives on campus, and the night that he's on duty, everyone's very excited because he is able to help with all levels of math and talk about that one. But we're really, we're intentional of making sure that, let's go back, giving the girls the voice. So if they do need help, or it was explained too quickly in class, can you give it to me another way? With that.
And we have the National Honor Society. We'll have peer tutors. And so there's ways for, classmates or other students, and then like Carol said, with tutorial and teachers being available in the library, and the resources are there and available.
So I want to say one last thing about boarding, because it's when I grew up in Chattanooga, the boarding options for girls, especially back in the 70s, the girls who went to boarding school went for a certain reason, and it wasn't always academic. It was and that has changed completely. It is really turned around to, it is academic, and it is having opportunities, it is having growth. We have students who come in 9th grade as day students with every intention of boarding their junior and senior year. We this year have 5, we have 4, and I would say 5, girls who came only their senior year. 2 reasons. One, coming off of COVID, they were virtual all last year. They missed an entire connection of class and teachers. And then the second one was to get that independence of living here a senior year, being able to get close to home if they need to, but knowing all those responsibilities and time management, and really just being able to speak in their own voice and to self-advocate. So that is something that you don't always see in a lot of places, but we see it here at St. Mary's.
Our most of the boarders, juniors, seniors.
No, they're 9 through 12.
All
9 through 12, but some will be day students, and they'll say, I'm seeing what's going on there. I'm seeing this. Yeah.
So that's what I wonder, are most, but across the board, there's like an even number of boarders.
That ratio is pretty close. Yeah.
So what was the question?
About the number of boarders. The question is, do they only board junior and senior? I will say though that in my couple years being here, more new to school families that come in the 10th grade that don't come to board. So it's almost like they've waited a year just to get that 9th grade, get all the physics first, and the 9th grade English, and the first year Spanish, and all that other stuff. And now they're ready to go down an academic path and do the 3 years of high school. So, and I can say for our 10th graders who come in, 9th graders, it is a split. The 10th graders, many of them come to board. So that adds to the class. So we don't have a small freshman class, but our freshman class does grow between 15 and 20 girls in the 10th grade.
And it is, yes, and there are, boarding days across the board, but we do, like Carol said, a lot of times when they transfer to St. Mary's 10th, 11th, 12th, more often they're boarding, but they're still be, although this year last year we had our 11th grade class is sort of our anomaly. We have 96 11th graders, and so that is our largest class. Our second largest class is our 10th grade class, and I think they're at 74 maybe. But we closed the 11th grade, so for the only spot that we're recording. So that is sort of that class is so large that we just last year got to the point where that was, and we will get 8 to 15 new 10th graders, new 11th graders as well. Just so they're just all juniors. So
what is the average freshman class?
So we would like to be, between 60 and 65. That's kind of where we'd like to start, and then we add from there. So like the 10th grade class being 70, that's great, that's healthy. I mean, that's sort of, there was the right amount of growth from the 9th to the 10th grade. And then our senior class is smaller, so there's, I think, 68 maybe. And then that junior class would be huge. Yes,
Right.
exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Carrie.
You are so
This has
welcome.
been great.
This has been recorded. And so I didn't call anybody by name, and they only saw me and Katie, so you're good. But if there is a future lunch and learn that you cannot get here, please know that those will be recorded. And are we going to post them on the webpage?
Yeah, we're gonna put it on our webpage, and then we're gonna periodically send them out. Instead of sending we're not just gonna send this, we'll wait maybe, we have 4 sort of about semester, but there's kind of 4 each semester. So you've got a kind of menu to choose from. And on this sheet of paper that you have, you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the lunch and learns that are coming. So it's sort of a la carte, or you can eat the whole buffet. Feel free to come to all of that. Or, what does work, or something specific, or, your wife really needs to hear this one.
Yeah.
Sign you up for this, honey. Yes, but they're the ones that you choose, like I said, they'll be recorded, so information will be there for you.
And I want to end with one thing, if I may. So we are in this beautiful place, in this beautiful chapel, where we meet as a school community twice a week. And we have our baccalaureate, and we're in lessons and carols. A lot of the Episcopalian things, Vespers on Sunday nights for our boarding community day students are always welcome. But this is we are bounded with the Episcopal faith, but we're welcoming. Going back to the diversity, we welcome Christians, non-Christians, those who practice, those who don't practice, any type of interest or uninterested, but we all come as a community. And while we do have biblical Christian for the most of the times in our message or in our lesson, we also have other ones too, because we just recognize and appreciate everyone that's here. When we get towards some of our Jewish or some of our Muslim holidays, we have those girls. It's not the adults, it's the girls sharing out. So we have a school hymn, and one line is what I use as my closing line. The line is talks about St. Mary's and it says, "Faithful friends and comrades sure." And it's in our hymn. That's what we have here. That will always be. You always have. Excuse me. I'm getting choked up. You always have that as a foundation at St. Mary's. Faithful friends and comrades sure.
And I think because we're an Episcopal school, that we're like going back to the Episcopal tradition, and having that, you're all up at the table, believing in the work of the people. It hits to that person.
Yeah.
Just the, yes.
This has been wonderful to meet you. I hope to see you on tours. When you come, please say hello. Again, that would be great.